Good morning, class 8. We were studying chapter 11, force and pressure. Until now, we have already learned the definition of force, its unit, types of force, and in that we have came to know that there are two types of forces. One is contact force, another one is non-contact force. And in our last class, that means in day 3 class, we have discussed the definition of 4 types of contact forces. What were they? They were the muscular force, frictional force, normal reaction force, and force of tension. So now, today's topic is the non-contact force. Though I have already discussed what is non-contact force, but today at first we will write down the definition of non-contact force. So as you can see, to save some time, I have already written the definition of non-contact force. So you please quickly note it down. What is non-contact force? Non-contact force, the force which does not need any contact between the applier and the object for its application, is known as non-contact force. So, to apply the force, if we don't need to have the contact between the applier, that means who is applying the force, on the object on which we want to apply the force, then that type of forces are called non-contact forces. Now, here in our syllabus, we will see 3 types of non-contact forces. What are they? They are, the first one is the gravitational force, the second one is the electrostatic force, and the third one is the magnetic force. So today, let's start the discussion with the gravitational force. I know that you all have an idea for the gravitational force, what a gravitational force is, and I can bet that 90% of you will end up with a wrong definition. So please rectify it. The gravitational force is a general force. It is not only restricted to Earth. So whenever I ask student what is gravitational force, everyone come up with the definition that the force exerted by Earth with which it pulls the object towards the center. No, it is the special case. I will explain what does this call. Okay, it is gravitational force, but it not only this definition cannot explain the gravitational force, because gravitational force is a universal force which is present everywhere in the universe wherever we will see any two masses. So whenever there will be two masses, the gravitational force is present. So what you were telling, it is the force which is exerted by Earth with which it attracts any object towards its center. No, it is not like that. It is present between you and your computer. It is present between you and the pen you are using. It is present between you and the book or the copy. It is present between you and your parents. If it is present between the sun and the earth, it is present between the sun and the moon, it is present between Neptune and Pluto, it is present between Mars and Uranus. So it is everywhere. It is everywhere. So we cannot restrict our definition to the earth only. It is a special case. So what will be the general definition of gravitational force? Please write it down. Gravitational force. the force better you write the attractive force between any two masses in the universe is called the gravitational force. So as you can see from the definition, the masses present in the universe, any two masses present in the universe will have the gravitational force of attraction between them. Yes, I have written the attractive force. Yes, it has a great significance. What it is, the gravitational force is always attractive in nature. It cannot be repulsive. So it is a attractive force. What kind of force it is? It is an attractive force which is present, which is always present between any two masses in the universe. So wherever there will be mass, the gravitational force will act. Okay. Now you must be thinking, then till now what definition you know about the gravitational force? Is that wrong? No, that is not wrong. That is also gravitational force, because Earth is also a mass and the other objects, they are also mass. So the Earth, if the Earth is attracting any object towards its center, that is also the gravitational force. It is the special case that between two masses you always keep one mass as the Earth. And that's why, as because we all survive on Earth, so we have a special love and affection with the Earth. That's why we sometimes call this special or this special gravitational force or this particular gravitational force with one more name, that is called the force of gravity or gravity. So please note it down, what is gravity. So if anyone says the gravity or the force of gravity, then you can write that definition what you were telling right now. So that is the force with which Earth attracts any object towards its center is called the force of gravity or gravity. So the force with which Earth attracts any object towards its center is called the force of gravity or gravity. Now it is clear what is the difference between gravitational force and gravity. Yes, the gravitational force is the general force which can take place in between any two objects, but for the gravity or the force of gravity, one object should be Earth and the other object can be any object in any mass in the universe. Okay. So now you next write down the next force. What is that? That is the electrostatic force. I hope we have written that. Yes, electrostatic force. So electrostatic force. How can we define the electrostatic force? Do you have any idea? It's very odd that I am taking the class through this video recording and I cannot hear you. If you were present, I hope many of you would have said that yes, electrostatic force is the force generated by the charges. Yes, it is so. So what can we write the definition? So write it down. So it can be written as, it is the force, it is the force of attraction or repulsion between two charged bodies or between a charged body and an uncharged So what can we write? It is the force of attraction or repulsion between two charged bodies or between one or, better you write here, or attractive force between a charged body and an uncharged body. Is it clear? You please write down, or attractive force between a charged body and an uncharged body. Now you must be confused at why I have improvised my definition. Yes, at first you consider up to this section. Before discussing what is the physics behind it, let me ask you, do you know how many types of charges are there? Yes, you must be saying that there are two types of charges. One is positive, another one is negative. Very good. And I hope you all know this, like the magnetic poles. These charges, the characteristics of attraction and repulsion between the charges are also same. So, how it is? The like charges attract, the unlike charges attract and the like charges repel. So what it is, you know, if there will be two positive charges or two negative charges, then they will repel each other. Two positive charges will repel each other, two negative charges will repel each other. And if there is one positive charge and one negative charge, then they are going to attract. So that's why I have written this electrostatic force is, they can have both the characteristics, either of attraction or of repulsion. But before this electrostatic force, we were studying the gravitational force, and there I have said you the gravitational force is always attractive in nature. But here you will find that the electrostatic force is sometime attractive in nature and sometime repulsive in nature, depending on the charges on which it is acting. But if we are having, now if I come to the next part of the definition, if I come to one charged body and one uncharged body, then it is always attractive in nature. So this part you will understand when I will explain you a little bit more about the charges. So how can it be understood? Suppose how these charges, how can we have one charged body? When we have a body, so you all know that matters are made up of atoms, and in atom, what we have in our previous class, in our class 7 in electricity, I have already told you, matters are made up of atoms, and in atom we have two things. One is the nucleus, and around which the electron revolves in different orbits. Electrons are negative in charge, and nucleus has two entities, that means two type of things inside it. One is proton and one is neutron. Neutrons are neutral in charge and protons are positive in charge. And one object remains, entire object remains in neutral form because the number of electrons present in the orbit is always equal to the number of protons present inside the nucleus. But if by any process, if we can take out some electrons, suppose here we have 2 electrons, so inside there will be 2 protons. So 2 electrons and 2 protons will neutralize their effect and hence the atom will remain in its neutral state. But suppose in any process or by any process, if we can remove 1 electron, now what is the situation? We have 2 protons inside the nucleus and 1 electron outside the 1 electron in the orbit. So 1 electron will be neutralized by 1 proton, but we will have the effect of 1 proton, and hence now this atom will act as 1 positive charge. So now this atom will act as 1 positive charge. But if we add 1 more electron, then what will happen? If we add 1 more electron, then these 2 electrons will be neutralized by the 2 protons present inside the nucleus, and this extra electron which has been added to the atom will show its own effect, and then the atom will be called as negatively charged. So from this what we came to know, that the positive charge is actually the condition of deficiency of electrons, and the negative charge is actually the condition of efficiency of electrons in the atom. So in this way we get the charged body. So when suppose let me tell you one example. If we have a glass rod and if we rub the glass rod with a silk cloth, then it is found that the glass rod easily loses its electron, and those electrons are loses by those electrons which are lost by the glass rod are grabbed by the silk cloth, and hence the efficiency of electrons in the silk cloth becomes more, and the glass rod suffers from the deficiency of the electron. And what I just told you, that when the object suffers deficiency of electron, it acts like positive charge, and when a substance suffers from efficiency of electrons, it acts like negative charge. And hence when we will have 2 oppositely charged body, when they will come closer to each other, they will attract. And if we will have 2 glass rods, then they are going to repel each other after they are rubbed with a silk cloth. So in this way, this electrostatic force generates. Now we are running shortage of time, so in our next class we will be discussing the last type of non-contact force, that is the magnetic force. Till then, you please keep your concept about the gravitational force and the electrostatic force very clear, because many of you gets confused among these things. So please read well, practice hard, and in our next class, after taking a short recapitulation, I will come up with the definition of the third type of non-contact force, that is the magnetic force. Till then, have a nice time. Thank you.